from the Fiber Cross Directorate, and this is a directorate that is charged with the mandate of developing, promoting, and also regulating the cotton industry for this purpose, though we also deal with other fibers like sisal. And in the directorate, we are having several initiatives. One of it is we are trying to address the whole value chain, right from production, addressing matters of productivity standards, and also issues of quality. And in these initiatives, we are also going into our traditional areas where we normally do the crop. We have the rain-fed and also the irrigated cotton farming. When I talk about rain-fed, we are talking of the traditional areas where we have the west and the east region. We are talking of the upper eastern, the entire Ukaban region, the coast region of Baringo. We have the entire Nyanza region and the western region. These are traditional cotton growing areas. But we also gone into other non-traditional areas like Gabatula, where you have the irrigation schemes there, and utilizing the water from the Tana River and the Wasonyiro. And on matters of productivity, we are renewing the seeds. We are now a certified seed program, where we are now renewing the current conventional seeds that we have. Apart from that, we also have the hybrid varieties that we have gotten from our partners outside. We are having several trials in this country to see which ones is better adaptable. This one goes together with also the quality of the lint. To make sure that we do this one very well, we are now having the high volume instrument where you're able to see the parameters of the fiber and also get the fiber quality. And this is a facility that we have put in the country, and this is of world-class standards. And apart from now the issues of the lint quality, we also want to see that we're able to reward our farmers accordingly. When we get better crops, we get better yields, we also want them to benefit. In future, we are going to see that they're also going to get premiums so that they're also going to be compensated for their job well done. We have also developed a cotton manual that is addressing the various agronomic practices, right from production, matters of pest control, post-harvest management, and all this is geared to make sure that we get the best for the farmers. We also bring the farmers together through the cluster approach that we are doing in the traditional cotton areas, where we are bringing the farmers together. And while we are doing this, we want to reach out to them for purposes of training, capacity building, and linking them with the partners like the credit players, input providers, so that they are able to address in a one-stop shop. And they're also going now to market and collect the produce, sell it as one entity. And we'd also like them to benefit from the entire process, not only the lint, but also the byproducts that also come from this process. We're also engaging the SMEs, the hardloom weavers. We have a very vibrant hardloom weavers association that we are now bringing up, and we want to set it as a cooperative so that the young, the women, the men who do the weaving and the spinning, and also they're able now to spin, get the hardwood products, and also sell them to the market. I know you are aware of the opportunity that we have in the AGOA. We have the preferential arrangement with the US market for hardwood products. These are products that we really like them to get to the outside market and to benefit the farmers and the weavers directly. We are also partnering with the Ministry of Industry and Cooperatives through revival and setting up of the new cooperatives so that farmers support together. And we also not forgetting the fashion designers who are also part of the chain, so that we are able to address right from the production up to the market, where now we get the garment going out to the market and also the textile industries. To reinforce this, we have for the first time been able to develop contracts between the farmers, the gleaners, and the spinners, so that we're able to address the backward and the forward linkages, so that whatever gets from the farm, there's that assurance of the market. And in so doing, we are bringing the players together. We are bringing the input providers, the credit providers, ourselves for capacity building, and also reining in the county government, because county governments are very key. This is where the production is, and this is where now the activities are. So we are also targeting, and we have a very good working relationship with the county governments. We have presence of cotton in 24 counties, and we are reaching out to them. We have even developed some interactions with the county governments where you have fiber forums between ourselves and the directors and the county executive committee members. And we are also partnering with them to see that we revive the old cooperative-owned ginaries, meaning the western region of Kenya, so that the farmers can be able to benefit. And these are various initiatives that we are doing, but all is not done. This is a journey. As you know, in the 70s and 80s, the industry used to be very vibrant, and this is what we want to see. This is very clearly spelled in our Vision 2030 document. We have now come to the end of the MT2 plan, now we're in the MT3, so that we see how well we're able to move this industry. Because the main agenda and the goal of the government is to see Kenya becoming a middle income and middle industrialized nation by 2030. And one of the crops that we take up there is cotton, because as you know, cotton is an industrial crop that has various components in the entire chain, and until we process it, we will not say that we are done. And after we process, you need to get it to the market. And we also are targeting our population. As you know, the population is now around 45 million, and these people need to be closed. We also an initiative, the government, the Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Agriculture, the National Treasury, where we are promoting Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative, and we are actually now through the preservation and the preferential regulations of the Public Supplies Act. We want to see that the institutions of government are actually sourcing from the local industries, especially textiles. We are talking of the national institutions like hospitals, schools, universities, government offices, so that we create market. So these are various initiatives that we are doing, and like I said, all is not done. This is a journey, and we are seeing us getting there.
I have been in the cotton trading business as well as the manufacturing or ginning business since 1982. I am one of the founder members of UCGA in Uganda, and the cotton sector was revived. I am also a founder member of Kenya Genius Association in Kenya, and we have revived or trying to revive this sector in support with the government. We have had many challenges. Particularly in the last 8 years, we have been working on this sector, but each time we had a very big challenges. But recently, in the last 2 years, the new variety of seeds are now coming to the production, and we will be receiving new seeds quality, and I'm sure that the genus will be happy to see the production go higher. In the next 3 years, Kenya will be able to offer more than 100,000 bales for export to the various countries. The genus are making contracts with the farmers and spinners to improve the production. I'm very much in favor of fiber crop, who has taken a lot of effort in the field to revitalize this crop. They are working hard, and we genus are going to look forward to a better future in the year.
Mbeleni tulikuwa tunapanda mahindi. Sasa nikaangalia nikaona mahindi haina pesa. Katika hii masomo ya kufundisha watoto, huwezi ukafunza mtoto na pesa ya mahindi. Sasa hii ni mbegu ya pamba. Hii ni mzuri, maana hata wakati kuna jua pamba inazaa tu kidogo. Unaweza pata pesa ya kufunza watoto. Kama sasa niko na ekari 5. Wakati mvua inakuwa mzuri sana, naweza pata around 50,000. Mwenye anaweza kukuza pamba, naweza mwambia hivi. Hii mmea ya pamba usaidia sana. Maana hata ng'ombe yenye niko nayo kwa nyumba mimi hununua kwa kutumia hizi pesa ya pamba. Alafu hata watoto ambao tunaofunza kama huyu bwanangu, mimi nilimfunza na hii pesa ya pamba. Changamoto ambazo tunapata, wakati mwingine tunakosa hii pesa ya kununua dawa. Lakini mimi hutumia hii dawa ya kulima, mimi hulima na dawa.
Kwa majina naitwa Aisha Hussein. Mimi ni mkaaji wa eneo la Hola Scheme. Naishi Bahati. Sasa hii kilimo cha pamba ni kizuri na pia tumekipenda, na kisha inatusaidia. Tunafanya vibarua, tunapata pesa, tunasaidia watoto na mambo mengine.
Starts, we open the Generious Buying Center, and here when farmers come, we weigh the seed cotton and we grade. There's grade A and grade B. And grade A, now we are buying at 50 shillings. That is Kenya shillings, 50 shillings per kg. That is AR, the clean cotton. Ile pamba mkulima amenyunyizia dawa vizuri na amechunga vizuri, sasa imetoka number 1. Then there's a BR. The BR ni ile pamba mkulima hajanyunyizia dawa vizuri na it's affected by caterpillars, bollworms and stainers. Then after we weigh, we pay cash on delivery.
We decided to invest in the ginnery, and we started with the equipment which you've seen. But unfortunately, when we went to the field, we realized that we had a serious shortage of raw material. So that is why we are doing our best to mobilize farmers to grow cotton. And we are doing it in conjunction with other government institutions. When we started, the first year we were only able to collect about 400 tons, 400,000 kgs of cotton. That is 2014. In 2015, we improved a bit. We went to about 500. Last year, 2016, we did 700,000. So I believe we are on course. Plus, like I told you, in conjunction with other government sectors, we've also taken a new approach. We have resources that can produce cotton in this country, like the Bura irrigation scheme, the Hola irrigation scheme. We have the Wasonyiro River, the banks of Wasonyiro River, that runs about 400, 500 kilometers. We think if we make use of these resources, we can probably produce cotton to the volumes that our neighbors are doing, if not better. Kenya, we are doing hardly 30,000 bales. So with the efforts we are putting in place now, and with other measures that the government is putting in place, I think in the next 2-3 years, cotton industry will be up like any other agricultural industry, like what we are seeing in dairy, what we are seeing in coffee, what we are seeing in tea. I believe the same will be replicated in the cotton industry. The government is giving free seed. Secondly, there is a program to introduce hybrid cotton, which most of the countries are doing right now. So with that, and then again, we are partnering with service providers, like the chemical companies. We team up with them. We supply chemicals to farmers on credit, and we recover this at the time of harvest. Also, we have like the program we are doing with Agricultural Finance Corporation at Bura. The farmers are getting finance to grow the cotton. And then at the point of buying, we pay through the Agricultural Finance Corporation, so there is no issue of defaulting, and the farmers do not lose their money. We are paying a farm gate price of 46, but there are other special projects like the one we are doing in Bura, where we have given them a hybrid seed that was imported. Since then they are irrigating their cotton, we are giving them a premium price of 52 shillings per kg. Our plans are, number one, we have to mobilize farmers and go back to the traditional producing regions. And that we are doing by roping in the Ministry of Industrialization, where the cooperative department falls, so that farmers can operate in cooperatives. And you know, when they are operating as cooperatives, it's easier to organize finance for them. Secondly, it is easier to get volumes that we need. And then thirdly, we shall do away with middlemen to mop up the cotton from the farms. As you know, in the agricultural sector, the biggest enemy of the farmer is the middleman. So we are trying to encourage farmers to work in cooperatives. Even if they cannot work in cooperatives, they work in CBOs, whereby they have a group and they do the production as a group, not individually. What happens, we collect what we call seed cotton from the farmers. It comes to the ginnery, we do what we call ginning. So what we do, we get the seed cotton, we do the processing,
We end up with the lint, that is what many people call cotton, and then the seed. We have another process of milling the seed, that is extracting oil from the seed, and then we have the oil that is used as industrial oil by manufacturers of various items, and then we have the cake that is used by manufacturers of animal feed. So those are the products we manufacture here. Grading of cotton is visual. When you see clean cotton, it's pure white, but when it is stained, that is what we call DR cotton. When the cotton is degraded from A to B, automatically the price goes to half. Why this happens is because maybe the farmer is not able to spray his cotton in time. This results in an insect attack, and naturally most of the insects, what they do, they stain the cotton, and that is the end of it. We do a lot of extension services because agriculture now is devolved, and most of the countries have not reached a level where we would have expected them to be. So what we do, we educate the farmers. We have our extension officers, and we also involve chemical companies, companies that manufacture chemicals, and we act as guarantors for the farmers. We ask these companies to supply chemicals. We guarantee the farmers. When we receive cotton from them, we pay the supplier. We are still doing very little cotton compared to our neighbors, and seeing the potential that cotton has. If you go back to the 70s, textile industry in general was the second highest employer, next after the public service. So what we are talking about today about unemployment, cotton can play a big role in fixing the unemployment problem in the country. If you look at what we are doing today, the Fiber Crops Directorate, who is the regulator of the cotton industry, we are all trying to mobilize farmers to grow as much cotton as possible. Our strategy, we realize that we have big institutions that command big tracts of land in this country. And around here, for example, we have Maranjao Prison, Embu Prison, Wamomo Rehabilitation Center, and the Mwea Prison. They have large tracts of land. We have spoken to them so that they can grow cotton. If we have those institutions growing cotton, I believe we can increase our volumes. At the moment, about 50% of the cotton we are processing in this factory comes from Lamu. We have seen growth. In 2014, we got only about 100 tons from there. 2015, we got about 400 tons. 2016, we got about 800 tons from Lamu. So the future is bright for cotton. Cotton in Kenya can be produced throughout the year. We start with the harvest in Eastern, which is our region, which is between March and August. Taveta, they harvest from September up to January. Then Lamu begins in October up to March. Nyanza, they'll begin harvesting in August up to December. But we have distributed seeds in all these regions. What we do grading at the farm level. We train farmers. At the time of picking, you have to train the farmers. Don't mix the cotton. Have separate buckets, one for grade 1 and one for grade 2. That is one of the major control of the quality that you are getting. We avoid using polypropylene bags because they are a big challenge when it comes to quality. We have people at every point. When we are emptying the bags, there is somebody doing the physical grading. And before the cotton is loaded into the gin, there are ladies there checking seed cotton that is being fed to the machine. Kenya today imports the cotton that the spinners are using. Kenya is the number 5 main importer of Tanzanian cotton.
After baling, this labeling will be done. For example, you can see this is Makueni Ginneries Limited. Lot number 9, bill number 41, weight is 266 kilos, and the year of production is 2016. So this is done after you do the baling. This data will be captured in the bale labeling for the samples. So when we get now the sample and we do the analysis, the results that come, we will describe this bale in terms of bale number and the lot number and the year. So what you get now in the results will be that the quality parameters for this bale, bale number 41 in lot number 9, which was harvested in the year 2016, the length, the strength, micronair, and all the other parameters that describe now this bale. So when now the person who is buying, he will know exactly what is the quality of this bale, specifically for this bale, because quality can vary from one bale to the next, even within a lot. A lot represents a number of bales, but the fact that these bales are coming from the same lot, say this lot number 9, it doesn't mean that all the qualities are the same. So the results is actually for each and every bale in that lot. And if I have 10 lots, then the results will be describing every bale in each and every specific lot. So even the owner, before he receives the bales, he can have the results from our system. He knows what to expect. Yeah, and once he gets these bales, then he can know bale number 16, bale number 20, bale number 40. This is what I expect. So that then he can do what is called bale laydown when he's spinning. And that helps him to optimize his processing, to know what he can make out of that specific cotton. Now this is ready for the spinner. And if we check on this side, you can see these windows. This is where the samples were being collected. You can see this. This is what was cut from each of the bales, from this side and the other side, and that is what was sent now to the lab. So now this is ready now for the market, and the market can now decide, because they already know that in a certain warehouse in Makueni, there is this cotton which has got these qualities. That person can be in this country, he can be wherever he is, but he knows that there are 2,000 bales in Makueni Ginnery, and these are the labels, and these bales have got these qualities. Each and every bale here, he can understand even before he does his bid for that cotton. Yeah. So in itself, it is that the whole system is meant to help market access, because earlier, the buyer didn't know what he's buying. The owner here will say that I have 1,000 bales. And now the person who is buying, he would say, well, I need 800 bales, can I get? Then he'll buy, but he's buying without knowing the actual quality of that cotton. He's buying from history, that when I buy from that ginnery, I usually get cotton which is of this quality. But you know, the cotton qualities will vary depending on the growth conditions, the management, and of course the variety and the weather. So if you don't do the analysis, of course what you get this season from a certain area can be different in the next season. So this is supposed to be done always, because the quality will vary depending on various growth conditions and the management. So that's why now the system is there, such that the cotton in every season, after you do the processing at the bearing point, you collect the samples, you submit them, the analysis is done, then the results are uploaded in a way that the clients can know exactly what they are buying. And actually it is advantageous to both, because the ginner can say, I know the quality of my cotton, and this cotton should be fetching higher price. He knows what he's selling. And the guy who is buying also can say, I'll offer a better price simply because I can see the kind of quality that I'm buying from you. And I know what I can make out of this cotton. I know the amount of waste that I'll get out of this cotton. I know the amount of yarns that I'll make out of this cotton. So all those are marketing decisions or buying decisions that the two parties will always consider. That will help us to become more competitive to the ginner, more competitive for the spinner, more competitive in the products that will come from the spinning and the textile mills. So it is something that we cannot ignore. Prior to 2012, the country did not have a facility for commercial testing of cotton for purposes of trade. Commercial testing of cotton means that you want to deal with a high volume of samples within an 8-hour shift. This can be 1,000 bales in a day. And for that purpose, Kenya in 2012 was able to collaborate with the Common Fund for Commodities to establish the cotton fiber laboratory for the purposes of commercial testing of cottons. The facility can be able to handle 700 bales or 700 samples in a day, which means that if you are doing 30,000 bales as a country, then that would mean that we can test all those samples within 30 days. The facility was commissioned in 2013 by the Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. The institutions that were testing cotton prior to this facility, they could only test the samples on standalone instruments. That meant that you cannot be able to deal with a big volume of samples. And that is where this facility became important. The facility is assisting ginners, spinners, and the farmers. That is to say, all levels of the value chain. The ginner will know the quality of the cotton that he wants to sell to the spinner, and so he can be able to bargain for his quality, for his fibers. The spinner will be able to know the kind of fibers that he's buying, so he'll know how much he's ready to offer and what kind of returns he can, or what kind of products he can make from the specific cotton that he wants to buy. And again, the system, the way it has been designed, is in such a way that the ginner can be able to trace back the cotton where it is coming from, and where there are good qualities, he can be able to reward the farmer, and where the quality is not good enough to his expectations, then it is possible to do a discount to the farmer. So what happens is that we are encouraging the farmer to improve on the quality, because he will be paid against the quality, not what used to happen from payments from grade A or B. Actually, from a grade A, you can get cotton of various qualities. Within that one grade, you can get cotton which is characterized as a good middling, strict middling, and other grades. There are actually 8 grades in cotton fibers. So it is not just saying grade A. Grade A has got also levels. So this is where the facility is playing a role in the whole value chain to ensure that there are benefits at each level of the value chain.
Samples can be brought by either a client. A client can be a ginner, a spinner, research institutions like Calro. They can bring their samples for analysis so that they can know the quality parameters for the fibers. When the samples are received here, they undergo a process. You receive the samples, you ascertain their weight, length, and a certain depth. Under the CFC ICAC project, they helped us to install a mechanical sampling unit, which you are seeing here. So this unit is actually mounted on the baling press. The upper part of the baling press and the lower part of the baling press. So actually, when the pressing is being done, these units will collect the samples.
The cotton will be fed here, okay? And then the pressing commences. This is a stationary component for the baler. This one is the one that will move to the bottom of the pressing pit, and then when it is coming up, it is now pressing on the lid. By that action, this mechanical knife will cut a sample from the lower side. When you start loading, the cotton will form in various layers. So you can see that the first sample that you'll get will form a certain layer, the first layer. Then the other layers now are in between. At the end, you'll cut from this end. What that means is that you are having a representative sample of the whole bale, because you have taken from the first at the bottom and the upper, the opposite side now at the upper, the last one. You are cutting using this knife. Then what happens is that we have shown them how to label the samples. So immediately the bale comes out, you collect the sample from here and label, put the label in between and put the other sample, then roll it and pack it. Then he said, now for the lab for the analysis. Like this now you see it is lot number 19, bale number 21, weight is 179,
year 2016.
179 kilos, and then the year of production is 2016. So this sample now says everything, because again there is a number that they usually put in every sample. That number is the number that we have assigned to this genera. So once the sample comes to us, we will know that this sample is coming from a certain specific genera. Makueni has a code, Kitui has a code, Malindi has a code. Any person whom we are handling samples for has a code assigned by us. It will always be in the samples that come to us for the purposes of ensuring that you get the labeling right. Otherwise, you might assign the results to a different consignment or a different bale. That system works for all the genus. The lab is designed using the best practices. The lab is insulated to ensure that there is no heat and moisture transfer into and outside the lab, because you need to retain the temperature and the relative humidity under very controlled conditions as required in the standards. Actually, cotton should be conditioned and tested within a temperature of 21 degrees C plus minus 1 and relative humidity of 65% plus minus 2%. So this lab has various items. We have racks that are meant for conditioning the cotton. Apart from that, to control that climate, we have an ambient air management system that actually helps to retain the temperature and the relative humidity at the right conditions. There are sensors that actually help to ensure that when you have very high temperatures, then you can cool the room, and when you have very low relative humidity or very high relative humidity, then you bring it back to the 65 plus minus 2. Apart from that, the lab uses standardized calibration materials for the instrument. These are gotten from USDA. These are materials that are of known values, and they are used to ensure that the instrument is calibrated so that the results that you get are within the limits and in the acceptable levels globally, actually, so that whatever you test here, if it is tested elsewhere, be it in this country or outside, you'll converge to the same results. Apart from that, the lab participates in what is called proficiency testing for labs and CSITC route trials, where the lab receives materials that are of known values, and then we test the materials for various parameters, and then we send the results to Bremen Fiber Institute, where the lab is assessed against other labs globally, and we are given the results every year. The tests run on quarterly basis, and this lab ensures that we participate throughout in the CSITC route trials, because they help us to gauge the lab to know exactly whether we are operating within acceptable levels and limits.
Hello, my name is Durain Beacom, Worcester Service Engineer from Allco Services, South Africa, on behalf of Worcester Technologies. I have reported to Fiber Crop Directorate Kenya, Nairobi, to perform annual maintenance. The goal for servicing this that the cotton fiber maneuvers its way into awkward, small and movable areas that can lead to this binding and failure. So my objective is to clean and lubricate to obtain better working operation results. The preventative maintenance is done to USDA specifications and calibrated according to USDA standard calibration cotton. The HVI instrument is an important part of fiber testing for ginners, sellers, buyers, textile and other research institutes. This allows us to obtain fiber properties results that can help us achieve our goals to producing good quality cotton, which is turned into yarn.
Now, after the samples have been received at the sample receiving desk, they are brought into the laboratory. The samples are then taken into the sample rack, where they are placed there for conditioning. So the samples are conditioned for a maximum of 48 hours and a minimum of 24 hours. After 24 hours, we use a moisture probe to check on the moisture of each and every particular sample that is supposed to be tested. The moisture has to be within 6.75 to 8.25. If you are certain that the moisture is within that range, then the sample is brought at the HVI instrument. At the HVI instrument, we have two modules. There is one module here which measures the length, strength, a uniformity index, short fiber index, and elongation. We have also another chamber that measures color, trash, and micronear. So after receiving the samples at the HVI, the sample is divided into sub-samples. After opening the samples, you enter the sample identification. So we pick sample from the top and the bottom of the sub-sample. The next sub-sample also we pick from the top and the bottom. So this one forms one sample that is then mixed to form a representative of the main sample. So the sample is divided into portions of color. Color has got two portions, micronear has got one portion, and the length strength cabinet has got one portion. So you open up the sample properly and insert it into the sample drum where testing of the parameters begin. At this other cabinet, we have a color and trash cabinet, and we pick the two sub-samples, we place it and you actuate the start button. The system tests the color. You overturn the sample to have equal representative, and then you pick the next sub-sample, you place it, and then you overturn your sample. Then you come at the micronear chamber where you measure the micronear. Here you weigh weight of 9.5 to 10.5 grams. Once the weight is achieved, you insert it into the micronear chamber and close your chamber for testing to proceed. The results are displayed on the HVI monitor. You check against the standards, check on the moisture. If the moisture is right and all other parameters are right, the data is saved and posted at the host computer. So at the host computer, we combine the extraneous matter and HVI data. This is because the HVI data has got limitation in the sense that it cannot clearly depict the exact contamination that is present in the cotton. For example, polypropylene, the HVI will just give as trash. The grass will be depicted as trash. So in order to overcome this limitation, we combine with the assessment that is done for extraneous matter. So this extraneous matter is entered at the host computer manually to combine with the HVI data before it is posted to the National Cotton Classification System server. After the sample is tested using HVI, it is then are taken for extraneous matter assessment through manual visual inspection. This is where we inspect to check the extraneous matter and contamination, observe and record any contamination that is present inside that cotton. For example, you can encounter contamination like polypropylene, nylon, cotton string, grass, and even sisal string. So we use a form called extraneous foreign matter assessment report, where we score the contamination and extraneous matter assessment. This is the host computer where the data from HBI has been uploaded, and at this point is where we combine the HBI data and the extraneous matter. So extraneous matter, we just enter them manually and then save where it will combine with the HBI data. So this data, after combining, it is posted on the National Cotton Classification System server, which is based at headquarters Riverside, Fiber Cross Directorate. So at that point, we have an administrator who further post the results to the client. So the client, wherever he is, he can log into the system where we have a client portal, and this is only for clients who have credentials for accessing this system. So once the results for clients are out, the clients can log in and check on the results, get the printout of the results in form of PDF.
After we do the analysis for the fibers, which we receive from various clients, mainly we receive from the genus. We also receive samples from the spinners in this country. We import, of course, about 80% of our requirements. And what happens is that the spinners will bring their samples to the lab before they do procurement. And we analyze the samples, and then after we analyze the samples, we give them the results, and then they can use those results to make decisions to buy. Also, they use the results to do their bale laydown so that they can optimize their processing. What happens is that genus and all our clients, we have created them within the National Cotton Classification System, where all the results that are gotten from the lab are posted to a central server database, and all the clients who have got credentials, they can access their results. Their results and their results only, simply because the lab tries to maintain confidentiality of the results as required by Standard 17025. So what happens is that the spinner or the owner of the samples, within the system, it is possible for them to be able to link. They can authorize a second party to view the results after we have published them. What happens is that the results, after they are analyzed here, they'll come to the administrator, who checks the results, and if he's satisfied, then he publishes the results. Immediately the results are published, then they are available to the client. But of course, before publishing, the clients are expected to pay. They pay a small fee, which is just meant to support part of the costs that are incurred in the lab, of only Kenya shillings 150 per sample. So this is what happens, and genus and spinners, they are using this system to be able to bargain or to optimize their processes. The system will help actually not only the spinners, the genus, but also the farmers. How we have designed the system is in such a way that the results that are gotten, you can be able to trace back where the cotton is coming from. And the genus, after he gets his results, he can be able to know where specifically that cotton came from. And if it is of very high quality, we expect in the future to be able to tie that quality to the source, such that the farmers can gain some better premiums, or some premium of their cotton if it is of higher quality. And where the quality is demanding, then the owners or the farmers are supposed to get a discount. It is value for the product rather than just selling cotton as cotton.
My name is Dominic Ngugi, Thika Development Spinning Manager. Brief description of the textile process. Okay, we start by receiving cotton bales from the genus. It is passed through a cleaning process in the blowroom and a further cleaning process in the carding, whereby we try to individualize the fibers. And from carding, we head to draw frame, where we do the doubling. It's a simple process where we try to get a more homogeneous fiber from the back process. And after draw frame, there are two processes where we undergo. We can go to speed frame, where we intend to run the yarn for ring spinning. We can as well go to open end spinning directly from draw frame. And after open end spinning, it is taken to winding, where a clearing process is done. And a bigger package is meant for weaving purposes is made there. After that, all the yarn passes through UV light for checking of contamination, and then it is sent for the warping process or for weft. Now in the weaving, the fabric formation has to be prepared by consolidating all the ends that are required in the warping machine. So many ends are put together so that it meets the ends requirement for the fabric that is intended to be woven. And after warping, the beam is made, a warper beam is made. Now several warper beams are combined together and sized. Sizing is mainly for the purpose of giving it some resilience, the yarn resilience for the weaving process, which is a bit strenuous for individual yarns. Now after sizing, it is ready for the loom, and in the loom, the weaver beam that has been made from sizing, it is mounted on the back of the machine, and in the loom, weft is inserted and the fabric is formed. Now the fabric, after being woven, it is sent for gray inspection, and after gray inspection is where we set aside certain fabrics because maybe certain defects could be there on the fabric. But otherwise, most of our fabrics, what we make, minimum defects are there. So the fabric ends up in the processing. Preparation for dyeing and finishings are made. And after the raw fabric has been washed of the chemicals that has been put during the sizing process, it is sent for dyeing or printing. Now after printing or dyeing, it is washed. It is heat stabilized for that fabric that is required to be heat stabilized. And then after that, it is sent for packing.
The major role for this ministry to facilitate and promote industrial development in the whole country. When it comes to the ministry, cotton textile is number one. It is the one that can industrialize the country very quickly. And we chose it because of one, the wrong value chain. The value chain is too long. And in every value chain level, the employment is vast, labor intensive also. The ministry is very serious about the revival of the sector. Product of gene, that is the reason now they control the quality also by now using the laboratory. So that one has made it clear once the textiles, we require to have the quality raw material and understand the raw material. That's why the purpose of the laboratory is there. To have the parameters, to understand the cotton, to understand how it is, the reed itself. So whoever is buying that reed to go and spin is aware. If he wants to produce certain type of clothes or maybe the t-shirt or the fabric shirt, there are different parameters of cotton, the length, all the parameters. And if we don't work together, we believe that the sector cannot move. So we are seeing now the value chain being complete, and it is becoming very strong now. Because now, as they try to revive the cotton, because they are giving us parameters, the textiles, they will tell them, no, we don't want this cotton of this length. We want of this length. So they encourage the farmers. We work with them even to import seeds. If we cannot get the right reed we want, they don't buy cotton from here because of the quality. They don't buy cotton because of this. But now that one, it is being ironed out because of the laboratory.
Last year, the EPZ sector alone, we turned over about $380 million US. And out of that 380, I would say about 230 million also comes in terms of fabric and accessories, because Kenya, we haven't yet gotten to that point where we can produce our own fabric.